This really happened. He followed them into the woods, and they never came back the same. What would you have done? This happened a few years ago, back in 2019, I think. I was over at a friend's place for a sleepover. For the sake of the story, let's call her M. I was really looking forward to it. Super excited to catch up and dive into all the latest middle school drama. Now here's something important. M's house was way out there, like deep in the woods. I'm talking really deep. Anywhere you looked, there was woods, and their nearest neighbor was about a half-mile away. But on the backside of her house was a cliff that led down to the ocean. The night at M's house started off pretty good. Our friend Sam was there too. We played truth or dare, hide and seek, and other teenage games. It was getting pretty late, but we decided to go on a walk down the gravel road that led to the other houses along the way. We asked her mom, and she said yes. So, we started walking. After another 10 to 15 minutes, we saw a man who was walking on the other side of the street towards us. At first, we weren't thinking much. Maybe this dude was just taking an evening walk as well. But something that didn't seem right was that this man was wearing pretty thick clothing. I'm talking it almost looked like snow gear, and not to mention it was pretty warm out. At that moment, it was like 60 degrees outside. We all looked at each other as we passed the guy, and that's when it hit us. The stench, the disgusting smell coming off that guy. It was absolutely horrible. There's no way to fully explain how vile that smell was. It was so overpowering that once we finally got a few feet away from it, my friend inhaled deeply, like she'd been holding her breath the entire time. One of our friends actually darted into the woods and nearly threw up. At that point, we all agreed it was time to head back. The friend who almost puked was already pleading with us to turn around. We figured it was the smartest move. As we made our way back, we passed by him again. This time, we held our breath before we even got close. But when we glanced over our shoulders, we noticed something had changed. He wasn't walking in the opposite direction anymore. Now, he was behind us, following. It was beyond irritating. That disgusting smelling man was now bringing his stench even closer. We had no choice but to speed up our pace. We started speed walking. We still had about a mile to make it back to M's house. As we began to speed up, so did the random, disgusting smelling dude. We all looked at each other, scared and annoyed. We picked up our pace even more, almost to the point where we were jogging. But of course, the man sped up even more. Now at this point, we were running, and my friend Sam looked back, and then we heard it. Sam let out a blood-curdling scream as she looked back, which caused Em and I to look back as well. And what we saw, still to this day, absolutely horrifies me. This man was full-on sprinting at us. He had what looked like a knife or something sharp in his grasp. Sam, and I started screaming as we were sprinting down the road. Our screams caused him to stop chasing us, and he eventually just stopped. But he didn't move. He just stood still, watching as we left. We didn't stay around to see what his intentions were. We just ran straight back to M's house. Once we got back, we slammed the door and decided on not telling her parents as they were already asleep. We all went to the living room to finish setting up our sleeping areas. But first, did you know that 98% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed? That means you. And yes, I am speaking specifically to you. Probably aren't. So now would be a great time to leave a like on the video and subscribe. Anyhow, a few hours passed. It was about 2 a.m. at this point. We were watching something. I can't remember what, but I know it was some horror movie. Now, I mentioned her house was on a cliff for a reason. Because of this, her house has a lot of windows on the backside overlooking the view. I was sitting on one of the couches that was set up right at the window. It was pitch black outside. All you could hear was the waves and occasional wind. All of a sudden, I heard footsteps outside. They sounded like they were right by the window. I told my friends, and Em said it was probably the deer that always comes by. For 2 years now, Em had been feeding this deer, who always came up to this very window. I got pretty excited as this meant this deer would come right up to my hand. I decided to look out the window, and I didn't see anything. It was too dark. I said that we should go outside to pet the deer, but Em and Sam said no. They reminded me about what happened earlier, and I agreed. So we went back to watching the movie. Another hour passed, and we were all feeling tired. We turned off the TV and headed under our blankets. It was about 45 minutes later. Em and Sam were fast asleep, but I felt like I couldn't rest. Something was up. I had this gut feeling that told me not to go to sleep, so I decided to look outside. The moon was just bright enough that you could see the ocean, so I spent a few minutes just staring outside. As I was staring outside, my eye caught something moving in the woods over to the left. I turned my head that way, but I saw nothing. I knew I saw something moving. So I grabbed a flashlight that was on the bookshelf, and I pointed it in the direction of where I saw the movement. Now, this was probably the worst idea I could have ever had, because when I did so, I saw that man again. But this time, he didn't have any snow gear on. Instead, he was completely shirtless, and I wasn't about to find out what else he didn't have on. So I tried to wake up Em and Sam and tell them what I saw. Sam woke up, but Em was a deep sleeper. I told Sam to look outside, but when we looked, he was gone. Sam looked at me with a pretty angry expression, like I was just messing with her. I told her I wasn't, but she didn't believe me. She went back to bed, and I was left laying there. It was now about 4:30 in the morning. It was still dark outside. I didn't sleep at all. I felt myself drifting off to sleep when I heard a knock on the door. I almost jumped off the couch when I heard it. I knew I shouldn't open it, but my curiosity got the best of me. I walked over to the door and looked out of the peephole, and again, I saw nothing. My head had to be playing with me. I again went back to the couch and threw my blanket over my head. I eventually fell asleep, but woke up at around 5 a.m. in a cold sweat. Something wasn't right again. My body wouldn't stop shaking. And then it hit me. That familiar stench, that disgusting smell. I almost threw up right there, but as fast as I sat up, I heard footsteps coming towards me, and I screamed. I flicked on the flashlight, and as I did, I saw him, the man from earlier, standing in the corner of the room. My scream woke up Em and Sam, and they screamed too. And as we did this, the man bolted out of the house. Em's mom and dad came running down the stairs, and after a few minutes, we told them everything that happened. Em's mom called the cops while Em's dad walked down the road with a shotgun, seeing if he could find the man. After that, once the police arrived and got all of our stories, I went home. My parents didn't tell me much when I got home. They held on to me like they never wanted to let go. It felt like forever. After that night, sleepovers were completely off limits for me. It wasn't until years later that I truly understood how horrifying everything really was. Eventually, the police caught the man. Inside that old shed, the one we kept daring each other to explore, they discovered 5 bodies. That awful stench clinging to him? It was the unmistakable smell of rotting flesh. And honestly, if things had gone even slightly differently, my friends and I would have been the next ones found in that shed. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more amazing video. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. All right, that's it for today. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.